Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Continuing with Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter number 1, the spiritual masters, text number 64. Sei bhakta gana haya dvividha prakara parishad gana eka sadhaka gana ara. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Such pure devotees are of two types: personal associates, parishads, and neophyte devotees, sadhakas. Purport. Perfect servitors of the Lord are considered his personal associates, whereas devotees endeavoring to attain perfection are called neophytes. Among the associates, some are attracted by the opulences of the personality of Godhead, and others are attracted by nuptial love of Godhead. The former devotees are placed in the realm of Vaikuntha to render reverential devotional service, whereas the latter devotees are placed in Vrindavan for the direct service of Sri Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmanitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So as we can see, we are continuing with the topic on the spiritual masters. And so far we've heard the importance of a bona fide spiritual master in our lives. And here in this text 64, if you remember text 63, it is a verse spoken by Yudhishthira Maharaj to Vidura, where he says, "Saints of your caliber are themselves places of pilgrimage. Because of their purity, they are constant companions of the Lord, and therefore they can purify even the places of pilgrimage." And now in this verse, he's saying such pure devotees. So he's referring to the previous verse, describing about those pure devotees, the saints. So here we can see, as Prabhupada is explaining in the purport, that there are two kinds of pure devotees. One is the perfect servitors, who are the personal associates, and the others are those who are endeavoring for perfection. Now, amongst the personal associates, again, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that those who are attracted by the opulences of the Supreme Lord, they reside in Vaikuntha, Vaikuntha Loka. And to do what? To perform reverential service, which means they consider that the Lord is to be worshipped with awe and reverence. So that is their mood, right? Whereas the others who reside in Vrindavan, they are attracted by love for Krishna and they have direct service with the Supreme Lord. So they have an opportunity to do direct service. They are not in Vrindavan, they see Krishna and then they bow down and, with awe and reverence, they worship him. No, they are doing direct service. And what is the process? The process is to perform worship of Krishna with love, with sincerity and seriousness. Then one is able to progress. The goal should be to reach that stage. Our goal should be to please Guru and Krishna. That's it. If we somehow or the other can become successful in doing this, in pleasing the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord, then we will be able to reach that stage of pure love for Krishna. Now in verse number 65 and 66, it says, ईश्वरेर अवतार तीन प्रकार अंश अवतार आर गुण अवतार शक्तवेश अवतार तृतीय माता अंश अवतार पुरुष मत्स्याधिकयत. Translation. There are three categories of incarnations of Godhead: partial incarnations, qualitative incarnations, and empowered incarnations. The Purushas and Matsya are examples of partial incarnations. Now we can see when he's talking about avatars, They are not just these three kinds, but there are more also. Like there are, like of course, Guna Avatar, Shaktavesh Avatar, as it's saying, Leela Avatar, Yuga Avatar. So there are different kinds of avatars. Verse number 67. Brahma Vishnu Shiva Tena Gunavatare Gani Shaktyavesh Sanakadi Prithu Vyasamuni. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are qualitative incarnations. Empowered incarnations are those like the Kumaras, King Prithu, and Mahamuni Vyas, the compiler of the Vedas. Verse 68. द्विरूपे हय भगवानेर प्रकाश एकत प्रकाश हय आरेत vilas. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The personality of Godhead exhibits himself in two kinds of forms, Prakash and Vilas. Purport. The Supreme Lord expands his personal forms in two primary categories. The Prakash forms are manifested by Lord Krishna for his pastimes, and their features are exactly like his. When Lord Krishna married 16,000 queens in Dwarka, he did so in 16,000 Prakash expansions. Similarly, during the Rasa dance, he expanded himself in identical Prakash forms to dance beside each and every gopi simultaneously. When the Lord manifests his Vilas expansions, however, they are all somewhat different in their bodily features. Lord Balaram is the first Vilas expansion of Lord Krishna, and the four-handed Narayan forms in Vaikuntha expand from Balaram. There is no difference between the bodily forms of Sri Krishna and Balaram except that their bodily colors are different. Similarly, Sri Narayan in Vaikuntha has four hands, whereas Krishna has only two. The expansions of the Lord who manifest such bodily differences are known as Vilas Vigrahas. So we can see Srila Prabhupada has explained it so clearly, very, very nicely. He has explained about these two, how Krishna exhibits himself in two forms, the Prakash and the Vilas forms. So talking about the expansions of his personal forms, when he wants to perform pastimes, as Srila Prabhupada mentions, excuse me, when Krishna wants to perform his pastimes, like, it's talking about when Krishna got married to 16,000 queens, in Dwarka. So he manifested his Prakash forms, right? And he also, even in Rasa dance, and Prabhupada explains elsewhere also that when the Rasa dance was going on, each gopi was thinking Krishna is with me only and no one else. They were not interested in seeing, they didn't even bother to see, oh, the other gopi has also Krishna, this gopi also has Krishna. No. They were only concerned about themselves and they saw that Krishna is dancing only with me. How was that possible? Srila Prabhupada explains that that was possible because Krishna expanded himself, manifested himself in his Prakash form. Now, what about the Vilas forms? Now, excuse me. The Vilas forms, as it is mentioned, Prabhupada says that they have different bodily forms. Now, first expansion we know is Lord Balram, and from him comes the Narayan form. And what is the difference Srila Prabhupada mentions? The difference between Krishna and Balram is only their color. But that, because of that difference, these expansions, these manifestations, they are known as Vilas Vigrahas. Important to understand from this verse is that Krishna is the source of everything, right? Aham sarvasya prabhavo mataha sarvam pravartate. Krishna says, everything comes from me. So even these Vilas and Prakash manifestations, they come from Krishna. Krishna is the source of everything. Like Lord Brahma says, right? That he is the cause of all causes. Everything happens because of Krishna. Now let's see verse number 69. एकई विग्रह यदि है बहुरूप आकारे भेद नाही एकई स्वरूप महिषी विवाहे यचे यचे कैलरास इहा के कहिए कृष्णेरा मुख्य प्रकाश. Translation. When the personality of Godhead expands himself in many forms, all non-different in their features, as Lord Krishna did when he married 16,000 queens and when he performed his rasa dance, such forms of the Lord are called manifested forms, prakash vigrahas. We already discussed this. Number 71. चित्रं बतैतद् एकेन वपुषा युगपत् पृथा गृहेषु द्विष्ठ सहस्रं श्रिय एक उदावहत्. Translation. It is astounding that Lord Sri Krishna, who is one without a second, expanded himself in 16,000 similar forms to marry 16,000 queens in their respective homes. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 69, verse number 2. So, how is that possible? How can he do that? You see, that is his mercy. He is one without a second, and he can expand himself in innumerable forms. He can, like Narad Muni, when he visited Dwarka, he went to, meet Krishna with Rukmani, and he saw Krishna doing something else. But when he went to the next palace, he was surprised. He said, "Oh, Krishna is here also. He is with Satyabhama." Then he went to the next, "Oh, he's with Jambavati." So Krishna was present everywhere in each and every palace, 16,108 palaces. And that is what Narad Muni was, overwhelmed with ecstasy to see Krishna expanding himself. And Prabhupada also mentioned that whenever Krishna left the palaces and he went into his sabha, then all those 16,100 manifestations would come into one, and that one Krishna would go inside that assembly where he had to handle his affairs of his kingdom. Verse number 72. रासोत्सवः सम्प्रवृत्तो गोपीमण्डलमण्डितः योगेश्वरेण कृष्णेन तासां मध्ये द्वयोर्द्वयोः. Translation. When Lord Krishna, surrounded by groups of cowherd girls, began the festivities of the Rasa dance, the Lord of all mystic powers placed himself between each two girls. This verse is also quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-3. Verse number 73 and 74. Pravishtena grihitanam kanthe svanikatam sriya yam yeran nabhastavar vimana shatasankulam divaukasam sadaranam atyosukya vritatmanam tato dundu bhayo medu nipetu pushpa vrishtayah. Translation. When the cowherd girls and Krishna thus joined together, each girl thought that Krishna was dearly embracing her alone. To behold this wonderful pastime of the Lord's, the denizens of heaven and their wives, all very eager to see the dance, flew in the sky in their hundreds of airplanes. They showered flowers and beat sweetly on drums. This is another quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33, 3 and 4, 75. अनेक अनेकत्र प्रकातता रूपस्य कैस्य यैकदा सर्वथा तत्स्वरूपेव सप्रकाश इति रते. Translation. If numerous forms, all equal in their features, are displayed simultaneously, such forms are called Prakash Vigrahas of the Lord. This is a quotation from the Laghu Bhagavatamrita compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami, verse 76. Ekai vigraha kintu akare hai ana aneka prakasha hai vilasataranama. Translation. But when the numerous forms are slightly different from one another, they are called Vilasa Vigrahas. It's just a repetition, it's the same point being repeated again and again so we can understand the difference between Prakasha manifestation and Vilasa manifestation. Verse 77. Swarupam anyakaram ya tasya bhati vilasataha prayanatma samam sakya savilaso nigadyate. Translation. When the Lord displays numerous forms with different features by his inconceivable potency, such forms are called Vilas Vigrahas. This is another quotation from Laghu Bhagavatamrita, verse 78. Yeche Baladeva Parayavyomi Narayana Yeche Vasudeva Pradyumana Nishankarashana. Translation. Examples of such Vilas Vigrahas are Baladev, Narayana in Vaikuntha Dham, and the Chaturvyuha, Vasudev, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Text 79 and 80. Ishwarera Shaktihaya eti na prakara Ekalakshmi Gana Pure Mahishi Gana Ara Vraje Gopi Gana Ara Sabhate Pradhana Vrajendra Nandana Yate Swayam Bhagavana. Translation. The energies, consorts of the Supreme Lord are of three kinds: the Lakshmis in Vaikuntha, the queens in Dwarka, and the gopis in Vrindavan. The gopis are the best of all, for they have the privilege of serving Sri Krishna, the primeval Lord, the son of the king of Vraja. Text 81. Swayam Rupa Krishnera Kaya Vyuha Tanra Sama Bhakta Sahite Haya Tana Hara Avarana. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The personal associates of the primeval Lord Sri Krishna are his devotees who are identical with him. He is complete with his entourage of devotees. Purport. Sri Krishna and his various personal expansions are non-different in potential power. These expansions are associated with further secondary expansions or servitor expansions who are called devotees. Text number 82. Bhakta Adi Krame Kaila Sabhara Vandana E Sabhara Vandana Sarva Subera Karana. Translation. Now I have worshipped all the various levels of devotees. Worshipping them is the source of all good fortune. Purport. To offer prayers to the Lord, one should first offer prayers to his devotees and associates. Very, very important verse. The whole chapter is entitled The Spiritual Masters. And in the beginning of the chapter itself, we discussed Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru. So here we can see Prabhupada, of course, has already given us the process, right? Like, for instance, all these verses that we read. And here it's saying that we should offer prayers to the Lord. That is why he has given us the Prem Dhwani, right? Whenever we finish Kirtan, what do? We offer obeisances, Prema Dhwani, Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramhams, right? So we offer prayers. We offer prayers to the Guru. We offer prayers to the whole Parampara. We offer prayers to the devotees, the pure devotees like Haridas Thakur, right? So Prabhupada also said Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, right? That means we are also offering prayers, offering obeisances, worship to the Vaishnava devotees also, to Haridas Thakur, to Panchatattva, to Radha Krishna, to Tulsi Maharani. So Prabhupada has taught us the process by which we can progress spiritually and we can come to that pure stage of Krishna consciousness. He has taught us the process of prayers. He has also given us the knowledge that first we should offer our obeisances to the spiritual master. Then we should offer it to the devotees. Then we should offer it to Krishna. Krishna does not accept the worship directly. He doesn't accept the prayers directly, right? So we, because of Srila Prabhupada, we are so fortunate that we have association of devotees, right? And we can learn from each other. We practice and we grow with each other spiritually. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, even Chaitanya Charitamrita, they are not just for reading. They are there, that knowledge is there so we can understand what is our real position. Who are we really, right? We understand that how we are not this body, but we are the spirit soul, and we are the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. So what do we need to do? We need to progress spiritually. We need to realize our own selves. We get so busy running around that sometimes our spiritual activities, our sadhana bhakti becomes like a ritual. Oh, now I have to do Mangal Aarti, so I have to first offer agarbatti, then I have to offer the ghee lamp. So it just becomes like I have to do, I have to do, I have to do. No, these scriptures are there for us to understand the importance of these books, that Krishna consciousness is our life and soul. So reading should not be just a ritual. Attending a class should not be just a ritual. It should be that how uh, how I can today sit down and contemplate on my own spiritual progress. How can I somehow or the other maybe find out from some other devotees, or somehow or the other find out what is my level of Krishna consciousness and how far is it from where I need to go. So then when we contemplate on that, then you know the churning starts in the heart, and then we start saying, oh yes, I think today I chanted 16 rounds, but probably maybe most of the rounds were not attentive. So what can I do? Maybe my goal should be that at least I should chant one round attentively, full round attentively. Then my next goal should be 2 rounds attentively, and then gradually come to a stage where all our 16 rounds are chanted attentively. So here we can see that here the importance of worshipping the different levels of devotees is given. Worshipping them is the source of all good fortune. Worshipping means, first of all, we need to be humble, because if there is no humility, there will be no worship. It's like, who are you? You're on the same level like I am, so why should I worship you? No, that humility, that of course we don't, what does humility mean? It means we think less of ourselves, means we don't think about myself. It doesn't mean that we think less of ourselves, that I'm useless, I'm hopeless. No, not that. It is just that we don't focus on ourselves, we focus on others. See, here it says, worshipping the devotees is a source of all good fortune. It pleases Krishna. Right? Krishna says, if you are serving my devotee, that means you're serving me. If you're praising my devotee, that means you're praising me. So Krishna is very pleased when his devotees are worshipped and offered prayers. Let's see verse number 83. Prathama shloke kahi samanya mangalacharana, dvitiya shlokete kari vishesha vandana. Translation. In the first verse, I have invoked a general benediction, but in the second, I have prayed to the Lord in a particular form. Verse 84. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodita Gaudodaya Pushpavantao Chitra Shandao Tamonudao. Translation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. See, what is the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda coming in Kali Yuga on this planet Earth in India? What was it? How merciful of them to come when they were most needed, right? Imagine if they did not come 500 years ago, where would we be? We would not know that, chanting of Hare Krishna can deliver us. We would not have all this knowledge, then how would Srila Prabhupada would have, translated and given us the purpose. How merciful of them. They came just to enlighten us in Krishna consciousness. They bestow their benediction upon all of us. Prabhupada says they came to give love of Godhead for free, no charge. It's not that you give me $100 and I'll give you the mantra. No, it was free. Simple process of chanting. What did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? Harinam, 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 eva kevalam. Kalo nasteva, 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 gatiranata. There's no other way. No other way, no other way except chanting, chanting, and chanting. You see, why? Because the simple process of chanting with the sound vibrations, we can purify the heart. Just with the sound vibrations, that's all, right? But unfortunately, most people, as Srimad Bhagavatam also explained to us in first canto, where in the very first chapter it is mentioned that the people in Kali Yuga are lazy, misguided, unfortunate, short-lived, right? Quarrelsome. So here, lazy is because of laziness. We do not want to chant 16 rounds. I remember there is this couple who lives in Atlanta, and I've been preaching to them for more than 20 years, I would say. And every time I, talk about the importance of chanting 16 rounds, they do not want to chant 16 rounds because I came to know the reason. Because they say if we start chanting 16 rounds, then we will have to get initiated. I was like, that is the fear? I say you don't have to get initiated. If you don't want to get connected to the parampara, that is your choice. But at least chant 16 rounds, because that is the minimum dosage for the disease we have in Kali Yuga. We have this disease, all these anarthas in our heart. So the dosage for to cure that disease is chanting 16 rounds every day. I am not going to benefit if you chant 16 rounds. That is what I explained to them. You are the one who is going to benefit. You have to make the choice, the road back to Godhead or the road back to Atlanta. You have to decide. Well, it may not be Atlanta, it may not be human form, it may not be in the US, it could be anywhere, but it would be in the material world. So choice is ours. There's no force in this. We can only guide, but the ultimate choice is upon us, whether we want to take the medication or we don't. If we don't take the medication, then we cannot complain that I am sick, right? I'm sick, I go to the doctor, gives me the medication, the prescription, and if I do not take that medication, I cannot complain to the doctor, what is this? You're not curing me. I am still suffering. Yes, I will still suffer because I'm not taking the medication. Verse number 85 and 86. Vrajaye vi, Vrajaye vihare purve Krishna Balarama Koti Surya Chandra Jini Donhara Nijadhama Se Dui Jagate Raha Iya Sadaya Gauda Desha Purva Shaile Karila Udaya. Translation. Sri Krishna and Balaram, the personalities of Godhead, who formerly appeared in Vrindavan and were millions of times more effulgent than the sun and moon, have arisen over the eastern horizon of Gauda Desh, West Bengal, being compassionate for the fallen state of the world. Being compassionate. That was their whole purpose, to come and be compassionate to us, give us their mercy, give us their benediction of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. They were being compassionate just like Prabhupada was compassionate to us, right? What did he do? At the age of 69, he came to the US to help us, to deliver us, even though at that time we were not in the US, but at least he started the Krishna consciousness movement, right? At the age of 69, what do people generally do? Relax, take it easy. They say, this body is old, it's a good excuse to relax, right? We start, of course, Prabhupada says we start getting old from the time we are born. When the child is born, if we visit the hospital and ask the mother, oh, how old is the child? Do we say how young is the child? No. How old is the child? Oh, 1 day old or 1 week old. And when we go to someone's birthday, what do we ask? How old is your child? We don't say how young is the child. Oh, my child is 10 years old or 20 years old or whatever it is. It is always old. Old means, Srila Prabhupada says, even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that those who are born, death is sure. They are sure to die. So Prabhupada explains that every day we are getting closer to death. Now one may say, oh, you are being so pessimistic. No, this is what the scriptures say. That is being realistic, to understand that we are getting old every day. We are getting closer and closer to our appointment with death. Why take a chance? Why waste this human form of life? Why not, just like Srila Prabhupada was compassionate to us, he gave us all these books with his beautiful translations and purports. Imagine, without purports, we would not be able to even understand the translations. So he being so compassionate, we getting his mercy, then it behooves us to give this mercy to others. Now, next month is Gita Jayanti month. That is the time when we get the opportunity. Of course, we should distribute Srila Prabhupada's books all through the year, but this month of December, we should make an extra effort to give this knowledge to others. He says, compassionate for the fallen state of the world. Fallen state, yes. We can see that we were in Maya, maybe we are still in Maya, we see others are in Maya, they are in the fallen state, But, and people in general in Kali Yuga, they want to get more entangled, more and more, and they feel that improves their status of life. They have this also and that also. They have reached the stage, and whatever it could be, right? But the scriptures, they are giving us knowledge how we can become free of Maya. That is the whole purpose. We have, just like in the Bhagavad Gita, uh, Krishna is telling Arjuna, right? Yagnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha, that if the work is not performed for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, it's not performed as a sacrifice for him, it is going to cause bondage. And no one likes to be in bondage. Everyone wants to be free, right? It's like husband tells the wife, you are free to go wherever you want. You are free to do whatever you want to do. Or it's the other way around, wife telling the husband, but there is a chain tied to the foot. What does the spouse do? Cannot go anywhere. Verbally, you are free to go. No, I'm not free. I have a chain. On my ankles, I have a chain. I cannot go anywhere. Right? Here, these scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, they are giving us process of how to become free, how to disentangle from this material world. Verse number 87. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ara Prabhu Nityananda Yana Hara Prakashe Sarva Jagat Ananda. Translation. The appearance of Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda has surcharged the world with happiness. How did they surcharge with happiness? How? By giving us the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. They have come to make us happy. They've come to show us how to be happy. But we like to be morose. I have so many miseries. I have so many problems. We just want to dwell on that. They have come to give us happiness. Instead of complaining all the time, instead of blaming others for our miseries, why not look at our own selves and decide now? Now is the time. I don't want to be miserable anymore. I want to be happy permanently. You know, we don't want to wait for the train to leave the station. It'll be too late. There is no guarantee that we will get a human birth again, right? There is no guarantee at all. So we have to decide now, right now, what do I need to do? Do now that I have got the chance of being Krishna conscious. I've got the opportunity to associate with devotees. I've got the opportunity to read Srila Prabhupada's books. I've got opportunity to hear instructions of Krishna, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What should I do now? Wait for the train to go away? Or should I hop on the train and take it up very seriously? Verse number 88. 88 and 89. सूर्य चंद्र हरे याचे सब अंधकार वस्तु प्रकाशिये करे धर्मेर प्रचार ए मत दुई भाई जीवेर अज्ञान तमो नाश करी कैला तत्व वस्तुदान. Translation. As the sun and moon drive away darkness by their appearance and reveal the nature of everything, these two brothers dissipate the darkness of ignorance, covering the living beings, and enlighten them with knowledge of the absolute truth. Last verse, number 90. अज्ञानता मेरे नाम कहिए कैतव धर्म अर्थ काम मोक्ष वांछा आदि सब. Translation. The darkness of ignorance is called kaitav, the way of cheating, which begins with religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. So you see, as we can see this verse that we read, that as the sun and moon drive away darkness by their appearance and reveal the nature of everything, similarly, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they have come and they're enlightening with knowledge of the absolute truth. So that itself gives us an indication that we are in the mode of dark, not in the mode of darkness. We are in darkness, which means we are in ignorance. We are covered up. We are conditioned. That's what we learned in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, how Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that the soul is entrapped in the body, this conditioning. So what is the solution? Solution is to become enlightened, to take on the knowledge of Krishna, from his devotees, here in the association of devotees. When we do that, then gradually with the help of knowledge, we are able to remove the ignorance. Only knowledge can remove the ignorance. What is the cause of all suffering? It is ignorance. Ignorance is the cause of all suffering. So here we have this wonderful opportunity to associate with each other, to hear and read about Krishna consciousness, to understand, what is our position, to understand what are the next steps that we need to take. So if we can take this, very seriously and very sincerely, then Srimati Radharani and Lord Shri Krishna, they will be so pleased, and Guru will be pleased. The spiritual master will be pleased. And then all of them will bestow mercy upon us so that we can progress further in Krishna consciousness. So I'm going to end here. If there are any questions.